Hello, my name is Elizabeth McCullough, and I am excited to share with you my method, Focus on Facilitators, harnessing the power of middle managers during change. The speed of business is moving faster every day. Corporations who compete in the global market must be agile and able to change, even when the change occurs halfway around the world. To gain a competitive advantage, company executives constantly scan the markets for new opportunities and threats. When the call to change is proclaimed, many of the company's resources are put into motion. We have all heard it before. Over half of all change initiatives fail, which means every time an executive team crafts their next big change initiative, they know in the end that a lot of money, time, and employee engagement may be wasted. The failure rate can be devastating to workforce morale. Employees may be perceived as resisting the change, and leaders watch as their change initiative sputters to a quiet halt. Change initiatives are usually owned by the executive leadership team. Leaders can find it lonely at the top, trying to juggle the external threats to the corporation, keeping the stakeholders happy, and generating a profit. If their change initiative fails, they are the ones held accountable for the lost resources. Luckily, leadership teams have a built-in resource that can increase the success rate of their change initiatives. This resource is their middle managers. Similar to leadership teams, middle managers also have forces they must contend with during their workday, including managing their employees, meeting the expectation of their leaders, and all while sifting through new changes constantly being rolled out across the organization. As the pressures mount, the middle manager's natural human instinct to maintain the status quo can manifest into the resistance of the change. But middle managers do not resist change on purpose. They want the same thing as the executive leadership team, to work as efficiently as possible and achieve the desired strategy. However, sometimes middle managers do not receive the right amount of support during a new change initiative, and they do what comes naturally to all humans. They resist change. The Focus on Facilitators model helps the executive leadership team work together with the middle managers to identify and design the communications and support needed to move the change forward. Why should the executive leadership team work with the middle managers? Because the middle managers have the skills needed to facilitate change within the organization. They have experience with navigating past changes. Over the years, they have built a vast network of people who they can rely upon for assistance during the change. They are the ones who will influence the frontline employees to support the change, and their position in the organization gives them the ability to gather and report feedback to the leadership team. The backbone of the Focus on Facilitators method is based on the work of Julia Balagun. She determined that the middle managers have 4 roles during a change, and the first role must be mastered before moving on to the 3 remaining roles. First, the middle managers must make sense of the change and choose to undertake the change personally. After achieving this, their true power is unleashed with their ability to help their employees understand and make sense of the change while keeping the business going and actually implementing the change initiative. In order to help the middle managers with their first role during the change, the Focus on Facilitators method starts with the leadership team. The method guides the leadership team through a process of prioritizing their change initiative. If the change is given high priority, then the leadership team engages with the middle managers to help them make sense of the change and to design a communication plan. As with any change initiative, the middle managers are tasked with executing the change. And lastly, the Focus on Facilitators model requires the executive leadership team and the middle managers to agree upon a format for feeding back information on the progress of the change initiative from the frontline employees to the leadership team. The first step of the model has the leadership team prioritize the change based on the change's alignment with the strategy. If the change is critical to the corporate strategy, then it is deemed high and it will require a proactive grade of communication. As illustrated in this model, changes with low alignment to the strategy, such as a procedure change, will be given a low priority and the communication about the change can be passive, like a website that contains information. Changes which align strongly with the strategy, like those in the yellow band, will be given a high priority and will need a proactive communication plan to help ensure its success. When changes are deemed high priority, the leadership team will collaborate with the middle management to help them make sense of the change and to develop an effective communication plan. The collaboration methods are all based on creating empathy between the executive leaders and the middle managers. Once empathy is created, trust and respect are earned within the group. I have listed example methods which may be considered for the collaboration process. However, many other options are also available. At the end of the Focus on Facilitators process, the organization will reap multiple benefits, including the development of the middle managers as knowledgeable facilitators of change initiatives. Also, the method helps to preserve company resources by utilizing the current workforce to drive the change. And the newly developed empathy within the middle manager and executive leadership levels will spread naturally and open up new lines of communication for feedback throughout the entire organization. The positive power of the Focus on Facilitators model cannot be unleashed on the world unless it is marketable. The scalable strategy for the Focus on Facilitators model follows the 4 P's of marketing: product, place, price, and promotion. The model is currently designed for the use by executive teams of global organizations, and it is promoted to meet their needs. Future plans for the model will include expansion into other markets. Let's take a look at a change initiative that does not utilize the Focus on Facilitators model. Without collaborating with the middle managers, the leadership team rolls out the change initiative by throwing it over the fence. The middle managers, who are expected to implement the change, try to catch it and make sense of the new information. Since the middle managers must catch changes every day, if the new initiative is not prioritized nor makes sense to the middle managers, they may resist the change, therefore killing the change initiative before it even got started. The initiative fails and it's heaped onto the pile of other failed change initiatives. Resources are wasted and employees become even more disengaged with their work. Now let's see how a change that utilizes the Focus on Facilitators model survives the rollout process. The leadership team prioritizes the change initiative and agrees that working with the middle managers to develop a communication plan is vital to the success of the change. The executive leadership team collaborates with the middle managers by first generating empathy for each other's cause and consequently building trust and respect with each other. With these strong principles in place, the two teams work together to create effective communications. The middle managers then utilize their unique skills and position within the organization to facilitate a successful change initiative. In the end, the change is successful and contributes to the sustainability of the organization. The Focus on Facilitators model blends both the business and the human aspects of work in order to help corporations achieve more. The strategic planning model is essential to the business side of the Focus on Facilitators model. The human side of the model is bolstered by the traditional organization development theories of appreciative inquiry, interactive empathy, and organizational change. These 3 theories are essential to the collaboration step of the model due to their ability to create open dialogue and trust between participants. At the core of the Focus on Facilitators model is the belief that effective execution of sustainable change will give organizations a competitive advantage. By focusing on their facilitators, leadership teams around the world can create predictable and positive results that will help their companies outperform their competition every time. The Focus on Facilitators method was developed based on the work of these dedicated professionals. Thank you.